will be not scientific at all, but it will be more practical. I will try to tell you about what our Kennel Club is doing to protect breeds and breeders. And when we say responsible dog breeding, we are talking about this as about the communicative project of the RKF, and not about the teaching breeders how to breed with response. They know. When 1 year ago we elected the new president and started to think about our program for the future, we realized that in fact we can do nothing, because I think this problem exists in the other countries too. Because, for example, when the law has to be discussed in the government, everybody is invited. Dog welfare organizations are there. They are working closely with the governments. But the Kennel Club is the last to be asked and the last to have the voice in these matters. And so on. When something happens, for example, a dog attacks a person, and the media begin to write about this, the commentaries are asked from everybody, but not from the Kennel Club. And we realize that if we want to protect our breeds and to protect our breeders, we have immediately to start working in this direction, immediately. And first that we had to do is to create the situation when the Kennel Club is not more only the place where the breeders are coming to get the pedigree, but or not only the office, but the club, where they're looking for education, for something interesting, for interesting activities, because first we need the consolidation of the breeders, because we are working for them, and we are working on the material and on the stuff that they are giving. So they are the first persons in the dog world. And we started to think about how and what we can do to change the situation and to be more open for the breeders and to work for them. First, our president is an exceptional situation, because previously it never existed in Russia. He began to answer all the questions and all the requests from everybody. He has his own blog on the RKF website. He is answering not only calls, but in Facebook and messages, and he is explaining his position to any dog person who wants to know why we are doing that or this. And it's creating more trust, in dog community and everywhere. Then we started to discuss in the archive the most hot topics of the situation. First was in October, last October, we organized a public hearing about responsible breeding and about the tasks which the breeders want to decide to solve, and about the problems which they see in our society, in their work, and so on. We organized such hearings not only in the archive but outside at the professional conference. So, and important thing, Russia is a big country, and the important thing that such hearings now are organized by Larisa Galiaskarova, who is the helper of the president in these matters, in the regional project. She is traveling all over the countries and organize this meeting with the breeders in each city, explaining our position and asking what the breeders want. Then, for me, the most interesting part of the story is the educational projects for the breeders. Previously we had only, when the Kennel Club organized the seminars, these were the seminars for the judges. Now we are doing the events for judges and breeders as well. And it works. It's interesting to see the reaction of all together. because breeders and judges have to work together, otherwise it goes nowhere. So starting from last autumn, we organized already some meetings with the representative of the FCI Standard Commission, seminars on some breeds, Kangal, Whippet, and then recently we had a fantastic seminar about Italian breeds. Then we organized a huge conference on Russian breeds, at first time ever. These are some pictures in the program of this conference, and it was an international one in the frame of our first show for Russian breeds, and it was always a new project. This is a seminar on Italian breeds. And you see, there is quite a lot of people, and most of them are breeders. For the next autumn, we planned the conference named Selection and Expertise in Cynology, Actual Problems of Communication Between Breeders and Judges. And we await the speeches not only from the judges, but also from the breed clubs. And we are waiting that they will explain what they expect, which problems they see in their own breeds, and what they expect from the judges to be careful about. And then there will be the cycle of the seminars under the common title, Breed as Cultural Phenomenon. It should be also interesting. Then we invented the new interactive format of dog shows. It is, in Germany they call it Zuschau. I don't know the word in English, but it's the breeding, yes. Yeah, breeding permission, but yes, thank you. But we organize it like a discussion between, because we give 10 minutes for dog, and judge can explain everything that he thinks about the dog, give all his recommendation for the breeder. We want more contact. Then we announced this year the year of Russian breeds. And we organize this first show devoted to Russian breeds and just to draw the attention to them. Here on the picture you see one of our old and not yet recognized breeds, the Russian Hound. The breed is 300 years old. Then we installed the awards of merit for breeders and judges. First for the breeders who judged and who were in Russia. They know how fantastic, enthusiastic our breeders are. And at Eurasia show, we gave these first awards, and there were 50 breeders, and we are going to develop this tradition. And it's also the way to let everybody know about each other and about each other's achievements. Then we created on our website the list, the Hall of Fame for the dogs and for people. Here is the stories of dog savers who are working saving people. Here we are going to the second part, as the part is about trying to be known in the general public. Because, for example, in the previous pictures we had these dogs about whom they are real heroes. Most of them worked at the technogen catastrophes, saving and so on, saving people's lives. But in general, the situation, you know, the attitude to dogs and the dog owners in the society is not enough tolerant in the moment. So we have to tell more and more stories like that, and we have to create the situation when people driving, for example, in Moscow, they see not only this placard with adopt, don't buy, adopt, but something like that. These are our implantations to the city environment. These are in the airport, in the taxi. We put all our slogans on responsible breeding. We just want people to get to the understanding that first, if they want a healthy puppy, they have to go to registered breeder. And all the registered breeders are in the kennel club. So step by step, we are trying to work with our public relations department is working hardly with public media. And step by step, we are coming to the, I'm telling the story of 1 year, less than 1 year. But even now, when mass media want to know what happened and why this happens about this dog, and to get some commentaries, now they call the kennel club, not someone. And it is a big achievement for us, because this way we are trying to install the propaganda of purebred dogs. Then important part is to work with young generation, to involve them in our activities, and our president works on it. This is just one example, very touching, when they opened the monument to the dog worked during the war. And the propaganda of dog sports is also an important thing, could be interesting to general public. Then it is a funny project of, but it also had a good feedback. It's a funny project of our PR department, traveling with dog. They involved sponsors to promote traveling with dog, and it was a dog who was sent to Crafts. And his travel was sponsored by Shell and by one of the food companies. And one of the most popular bloggers in Russia was writing every day about this travel. And thus we got some more people from general public reading about how interesting it could be to live with a purebred dog, with a pedigree dog. Then, of course, we have to talk about some social project. And this is canis therapy, the project which is done together in the collaboration with the Kennel Club. And we are talking about some stories with canis therapy, with sport for inclusive situations. And then in Russia we do not have a lot of pet-friendly restaurants or cafe, or okay, the environment in general is not so friendly to pets. And in this direction we are also working. And then we are trying to make agreements with hoteliers, with all these people, and to make the rules for dogs in the hotels and the restaurants and so on. And even the newspapers is writing about these initiatives, and the situation is changing. Then there is a lot of regional events about dogs, and our PR department is doing everything to make them be spoken about in the public media. Then we had some projects together with radio, and with TV programs. One was Dream is a Gift, when the boy won something on TV and got his dog, a Labrador, as a gift from our president at our show. It was on TV. Then some educational programs for dog owners, for normal dog owners, not dog people, but dog owners, with radio, where our experts were every Saturday talking, answering the questions, and making them trying to let them come to the understanding that they must have the dog from the registered breeder. And then even in Metro we had some program which was named RKF Advices, and our specialists were giving the advices about dog training, about how to how to take care of the puppy, and so on. Then we organized some events, especially for the press, where we explained our reaction to new laws and to new situations, and tried to make it more understandable and clear for public. Then it was a lot of work with mass media around our shows. You know, in Russia the biggest show has 6,000 entries per day, so there is a lot of other activities around this show, and this year we were on radio, on TV, on newspapers, explaining general public what is dog show, what for it is needed, why it can be interesting just to attend, or how many breeds exist. All these easy things, but you see, in Russia we have 5.5 million pedigrees. So it is the amount of pedigrees issued by our Kennel Club. It means that 5.5 million people know what is the archive, and we have 145 million in the country. So some of them have dogs, and many of them have dogs, but non-pedigree dogs, or they do not need pedigree, they are not interested. Maybe they don't know that there is something interesting in pedigree dog life. So we have to talk with this part of the audience, and we are trying to do that. For example, before Eurasia and before our last Mazover show, we had 1 year radio translation, and were answering the question and talking. And this is a statistic of the publications, really a lot. And we worked with online translations, and our president gave the commentaries about everything that happened during the show, and it was published in the newspapers and everywhere. This is the blogger writing something for her audience, which is more than 1 million young people. And this is the figures of the coverage of our publications. And we have to say that most of them are neutral or positive, and these negative commentaries are coming to zero. And then the last part, it is the result. Last 6 months in Russia, it was a period when the new law about animal protection was under discussion in the parliament, and then it was accepted. And around this law, there was a list of so-called dangerous breeds. And when this list was published in March, it was 69 breeds in this list. And it seemed to be impossible to reduce it because of the situation which I said before. Kennel Club is nothing, and I think not only in Russia, it has no voice. But at the moment, thanks to all this, thanks to hard work of our president and of all our team, we reduced this list to 13. And today, now, in the morning, this decision was published in the government website. And they even wrote that they agreed with the arguments of the archive that there cannot, in this list, there cannot be breeds which are which are selected by the breeders, which are recognized by the FCI, and which are under protection of registered breeders. Because we explained to them that for each of the breeds which is in the FCI list, in the standard, it is written that any aggression to the people is disqualifying. And then these breeds cannot be in the list of dangerous. And in this list of 13, there is no one FCI breed, no one. The most important argument was that we can include in this list only the breeds under which there was no work, no selection. And we cannot be responsible for their temperament, for their reactions, and they can say that they are not wanted, these breeds. And I think that it's the first important step in this work with the public. And I think it works. That's it.